Hello, this is a review for the final exam. I'm going to go through some typical questions that you must be familiar with. You must be able to do all types of problems that I do. Alright, the first question is simplify 6 minus 3 in parentheses negative 5 plus 3. Well, first of all, you need to simplify inside the parenthesis. What is negative 5 plus 3? Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. So that will be 6 minus 3 times negative 2. Look at that. That parenthesis means multiply. So negative 3 is now multiplied by 2. The next thing to do is multiply negative 3 times negative 2. What is that? That will be 6 negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. 6 plus 6, and that is equal to 12. Now, you need to practice a number of problems like this of simplifying using order of operations. The second question is, you need to simplify this and write the answer using positive exponents only. So the first thing to do is distribute this power. You see, this is x to the power of negative 3 raised to the power of 3. So distribute that. What all you need to do is multiply the powers. So that will be equal to x to the power of negative 3 raised to the power of 3 will be negative 9. Y to the power of 2 raised to the power of 3 is y to the power of 2 times 3, that is 6, over on the denominator x to the power of 2 raised to the power of 2 is x to the power of 4. Y to the power of negative 4 raised to the power of 2 will be y to the power of negative 8. What will be the next thing that you do? Make the powers, the negative powers, positive. So x to the power of negative 9 will come down. It will become x to the power of positive 9. Y to the power of negative 8 will go up to become y to the power of positive 8. So first we take this up. It will become y to the power of 8. Y to the power of negative 8 will go up to become y to the power of 8. And we keep that y to the power of 6 on top over this x to the power of negative 9 will come down, will become x to the power of positive 9. And x to the power of 4 is already there. It will stay there. Okay, what is the next thing that you will do? Use the product rule. Y to the power of 8 times y to the power of 6 will be y to the power of 8 plus 6. That is 14 over x to the power of 9 times x to the power of 4. You know the product rule, don't you? Base is the same, add the exponent. Will be x to the power of 13, and that is the simplified form. The answer must be with positive exponents only. The next question is a factoring question. Factor 4x squared plus 17x plus 15. This is a trinomial. So we first factor the first term. 4x squared can be factored as 2x times 2x. You know how to write them side by side. And 15, remember we need to get 17 in the middle. Now look for numbers like 12 plus 15. 12 plus 15. Now if you look, 2x times 2x, does not give you any such combination. If you factor 5 as 15 as 5 and 3, all of them are positive. 5 times 2 is 10, 3 times 2 is 6, you can get 16. You don't get 17. Well, obviously you need to change the combination. So rather than using 2x times 2x, let's try 4x squared as 4x times x. And now, if you know 4 times 3 is 12, look at that. If I write the 3 there, 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 plus 5 is 17. So 4x squared we factored as 4x times x, and 15 we factored as 5 times 3. Positive 5 times positive 3. And multiply diagonally. 3 times 4x is 12x. Added to 5x, you get 17x. And now, what are the factors? The factors are 4x plus 5 times, the second factor is x plus 3. You need to take a number of trinomials like this and try on your own. Get sufficient practice to factor terms like this. Now this can be done only by trial and error, alright? Don't lose patience. Take some time and do it the right way. The next one is also a factoring problem. Factor 2x squared plus 50. Well, what will you do here? Remember, in factoring, the golden rule is look for common factors, always. Now, there is a 2 in the first term, 50 the second term, 2 is common. So, 2x squared plus 50 can be written as 2 taken out. Once you take the 2 out, what is left in the first term is x squared. What is left in the second term? 50 is 2 times 25. So that will be plus 25. So we have now 2 times x squared plus 25. Now can you factor this any further? I know some of you will say, we'll factor as x squared plus 25 as, I know some of you will do this, x plus 5 times x minus 5. Is this right? No, this is not right. Now look at this. X squared plus 25 cannot be factored. If it is x squared minus 25, this is correct. But what we have here is x squared plus 25. You cannot factor it. It is a prime. So the answer in this case, you need to leave it there. That is the best you can do with this. Okay? All right. Next, we will do another factoring problem. Can you do this? Factor x squared minus 13x plus 36. Well, the first term is x squared. We can factor it as x times x. Now the last term is positive. The middle term is negative. That means both factors of this 36 must be negative. Alright, give me two numbers when multiplied gives you positive 36, added gives me negative 13. What are the two numbers? Negative 9 and negative 4. Look at this. Negative 9 times negative 4 is positive 36. And negative 4x added to negative 9x is negative 13x. Look at the way you need to look for factoring trinomials. What are the factors? The factors are x minus 9 is the first factor and x minus 4 is the second factor. Alright. Another factoring problem. Factor completely 3xy minus 2xp minus 9y plus 6p. Now, this is not a trinomial. Are there any common factors in all the four terms? No. What is the method for factoring such expressions? This is where you do factoring by grouping. So we first take the first two terms and see if there is anything common there. Look at this, 3xy minus 2xp. You can take out an x common there. So we take out an x. When the x comes out, what is left in the first term is 3y. What is left in the second term is minus 2p. Minus 2p. Now, once you do the first group, you know what you're going to expect in the second group. You want in the second group also this quantity 3y minus 2p. That means if you want to get a minus here, you need to write this positive 6p. Look at this. Do that in your mind or write it like this. Positive 6p is positive 3p, positive 3 times negative 2p. You see that? Negative 3 times negative 2p. Do you understand why I did that? Positive 6p is negative 3 times negative 2p. Why did I do that? Seeing this term 3y minus 2p, I need to produce a 3y minus 2p from here. And the only way to get a minus 2p here is to write that positive 6p as negative 3 times negative 2p. And how will you write this negative 9y to produce a positive 3y here? Well, can you write it that way? It will be a negative x. It will be a negative, I'm going to write this as negative 3 times positive 3y. Now, do you understand that? This negative 9y is actually a negative 3 times a positive 3y. Look at that positive 3y we generated. And now, in doing so, we created a negative 3 that is common to both. And that is what we're going to pull out. So, negative 3 is going to be pulled out. I want you to understand that very well. This negative 9y is the same as negative 3 times positive 3y. And this positive 6p is the same as a negative 3 times a negative 2p. The clue we got from here. So, we factor out that negative 3. What is left in this term is 3y. What is left here is minus 2p. And I created a 3y minus 2p here also. Now the 3y minus 2p is common in both terms. We factor that out. 3y minus 2p comes out. What is left in the first term is an x. What is left in the second term is a minus 3. So look at the factors of that. 3y minus 2p times x minus 3. Alright, I want you to work on terms like this. How to produce negative factors from a positive number. Alright, now that's a very important skill. Our next question is multiply and simplify 3x minus 5 times 2x plus 3. Now how do we multiply two binomials like this? The method is first take 3x and multiply it with 2x plus 3. So let's do that. That will be 3x times 2x plus 3. So we took 3x and multiplied it with this binomial. Then take minus 5 and multiply it with 2x plus 3. Okay, now distribute 3x. Now you know how to do this. 3x multiplied by 2x is 6x squared. Now 3x multiplied by positive 3. 3x multiplied by positive 3 is 9x. And now negative 5. Distribute the negative 5. It's very important. Negative 5 times positive 2x is minus 10x. And now negative 5 times positive 3 is negative 15. Now we combine the middle term, the like terms, plus 9x minus 10x. That will give you 6x squared plus 9x minus 10x is a minus x minus 15, and that is the simplified form of this. Let's now do another factoring problem. Let me see if you recognize this. Factor 3x squared minus 48. Well, what will you do first here? Always golden rule in factoring, look for common factors. 3, 48, what is the common there? 48, do you know that 48 is 3 times 16? Yes, it is. So, factor out 3, that makes it 3 times, what is left here will be x squared, minus 48 is 3 times 16. When 3 is factored out, you have minus 16 is left there. Now, do you recognize what this is? X squared minus 16. 16 is 4 squared. So that will be 3 times x squared minus 4 squared. And how do you factor that? Difference of 2 squares. That will be 3 times x plus 4 times x minus 4. Or x minus 4 times x plus 4. And that is the result. Remember, x squared minus 16 can be factored, whereas x squared plus 16 cannot be factored. That must be very clear. Alright? We will now solve an inequality. 3 times 4 minus 5x is less than 72. What is the first thing to do to solve this inequality? The first thing to do is to distribute the left side. Alright, let's do that. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times negative 5, what's the sign? 3 times negative 5 is negative 15x. 12 minus 5x is less than 72. And now we leave the negative 15x on the left and take the 12 to the right side. We get negative 15x less than 72 minus 12. Is that right? The 12 when moved from the left to the right become minus 12. So negative 15x less than 72 minus 12, or we got negative 15x is less than 72 minus 12 is 60. And now the most important step in solving inequality. In order to get x alone on the left side, we are going to divide both sides of the equation by negative 15. When an inequality is divided by a negative number, the sign of the inequality will reverse. So look what I'm going to do. It will be negative 15x divided by negative 15. Now when you divide by a negative number, what do you do to this sign? Reverse it. less than becomes greater than 60 divided by negative 15. And now 15 and negative 15 on the left will cancel. What is our result? Our result is x greater than, what is 60 divided by negative 15? 15 goes in 60 4 times. So this will be negative 4. X greater than negative 4. How do you write that on an interval? On an interval, it will be negative 4 to infinity. Alright? So the solution is x greater than negative 4, which is, on the interval, it will be negative 4 to infinity. Negative 4 is not included, parenthesis. There's no equal sign there. Alright? Practice all those skills, very important. We will now simplify an expression using scientific notation. 5 times 10 to the 6th divided by 2 times 10 to the negative 5. Now, I have taught you how to do this. Separate the numbers and the powers of 10. Write this as 5 over 2 times 10 to the power of 6 divided by 10 to the power of negative 5. Now, what is 5 over 2? 5 over 2 is 2.5 times. Now, 10 to the power of negative 5 on the denominator is going to go to the numerator. It will become 10 to the power of positive 5. So that will be 10 to the power of 6 multiplied by 10 to the power of positive 5. So the answer will be 2.5 multiplied by 10 to the power of, what is this? Use the product rule. 10 to the power of 6 times 10 to the power of 5 is 10 to the power of 11. Okay. In here, I have now given you a set of numbers. Now, can you tell me what are the natural numbers from this set? Counting numbers. Can you identify any natural number in here? Well, 3 is a natural number. So in this set, 3 is the only natural number. What are the whole numbers in this set? Whole numbers also include 0. 0 and 3 are the whole numbers. What are the integers in here? Integers. Well, 0 is an integer, negative 5 is an integer, 3 is an integer. That will be negative 5, 0 and 3 are integers. Now, what are the rational numbers in this set? All numbers except the irrational numbers are all rational. Alright, first of all, let's identify an irrational number. Is there an irrational number in here? Yes. This is an irrational number. So, square root 5 is irrational. That means all others are rational. 3, negative 5, 1.8, 8 over 3, 0 are all rational numbers. You must be very thorough with these kind of simple problems. Can you now do this division? Divide 25x to the 8 minus 15x to the power of 6 plus 5x to the power of 4 all over 5x to the power of 4. A polynomial is divided by a monomial. What do? You take each term on the numerator and divide it by the denominator. That's the method. So we take each term. That will be 25x to the power of 8 divided by 5x to the power of 4. followed by this sign, minus 15x to the power 6 divided by x to the power 4, followed by plus 5x to the power 4 divided by 5x to the power 4. Alright, now we simplify. Look at the way we're going to simplify this. The 5 goes in 25, how many times? 5 times. And now, I want you to watch here. X to the power of 8 divided by x to the power 4. The numerator power is less than the denominator power. So we cancel the denominator. And what will the numerator now become? It will be x to the power of 8 minus 4. There you are. And now what is my denominator? All the terms from the denominator have disappeared. Denominator is 1. We don't need that. On the numerator I have 5x to the power of 4. So my first term is 5x to the power 4 minus, now 15, there is no number on the denominator, but what is this? X to the power of 6 divided by x to the power of 4. Denominator power is smaller, so we cancel that, and the numerator now becomes x to the power of 6 minus 4. So what is my numerator? Numerator is 15. X to the power of 6 minus 4 is x to the power of 2 plus. Here 5 will cancel with the 5. X to the power of 4 will cancel with x to the power of 4. What is left here? 1 divided by 1, which is 1. So that is the answer for this simplification. How about this simplification? X squared, y squared, z cube, all to the power of 2. All over x cube, y to the power of 6, z to the power of 7. Well, the first thing that you need to do is look at the power here. This power needs to be applied to each of these quantities. That is the first thing to do. Alright, so what does that become? X to the power of 2 raised to the power of 2 become x to the power of 2 multiplied by 2. This is the power rule we use. That will be x to the power of 4. Y to the power of 2 raised to the power of 2 is y to the power of 2 times 2. That is 4. Z to the power of 3 raised to the power of 2 is z to the power of 3 times 2, that is 6, all over. Denominator is x to the power of 3, y to the power of 6, z to the power of 7. Alright, let's simplify this. Watch me do that. First, you can see I have written them aligned. X to the power of 4 divided by x to the power of 3. Now, which of the powers is greater? The numerator power is greater. And so we cut off the denominator power. And the numerator now will be x to the power of 4 minus 3. So x to the power of 4 minus 3 on the numerator. That is 4x. Alright, let's come to the y's. Y to the power of 4 divided by y to the power of 6. You see, the denominator power is greater. The numerator power is smaller. So we cut off that smaller power, y to the power of 4. Denominator now become y to the power of 6 minus 4. So, y to the power of 6 minus 4 now stays in the denominator. How about this? Z to the power 6 divided by Z to the power 7. There again, the numerator power is smaller than the denominator power. So we cut off that numerator. And what does the denominator now become? Z to the power of 7 minus 6. And this is going to be the denominator here. Z to the power of 7 minus 6. I hope you understand this concept well. You see, when you have the same base on the numerator and the denominator, cut off the smaller power and subtract that power from the other quantity. Y to the power of 4 has a smaller power, cut it off. The denominator now becomes y to the power of 6 minus 4. So what is the answer here? This is now, my numerator is x to the power of 4 minus 3 is 1, so that will be x. Our denominator is y to the power of 6 minus 4 is 2, that is y squared. And z to the power of 7 minus 6 is simply z to the power of 1. And this is the answer. Okay, you need to practice these kind of problems, several more. Get used to it. Now remember, you can do well on this kind of a test only if you practice. I have given you many 4 or 5 practice finals. Go back and look at all of them and do them on your own. Get practice. We will now do an application problem. Read this carefully. One number is 2 more than twice the other. Their sum is 23. Find the two numbers. Now, when you are told to find a number, how do you begin? You got to say, let the number be x. But there are two numbers here you need to find. So you need to call one of them x. Which of them is going to be the number you're going to call x? Read it again. One number is 2 more than twice the other. So you're going to call this the other number x. Alright? Let's see how we can write that. We're going to call the other number equal to x. So we have one number, is that right? We got one number and the other number. And we are told that this one number is 2 more than twice the other. We will now call the other number equal to x. You see why was the rationale? Because once you call this x, then we know what this number is. We are told this number, one number is what? 2 more than, 2 plus. 2 more than what? Twice the other. The other is called x. Twice the other is 2x. That means this is one number and this is the other number. Look at the way we create the variables to represent the numbers. Now, what is the relationship given to us? We are told that their sum is 23. That means if you add this one number to this other number, you get 23. So let's add 2 plus 2x plus x. One number added to the other will give you 23. Alright, what does that give you? 2x plus x is 3x. Is that right? Yes. So that will be 2 plus 3x equal to 23. 2 plus 3x equal to 23. And now what do? Move that 2 to the right side. That gives me 3x equal to 23 minus 2, or 3x equal to 23 minus 2 is 21. And of course, divide both sides by 3. You get x equal to 7. So x equal to 7. So the other number is 7. If this is 7, what is then the one number? It is 2 plus 2x. X is 7. 2 times 7 is 14. 14 plus 2 is 16. Therefore, that one number is 16. Right? 16 plus 7 is 23. Now look at the way we did this problem. I want you to practice these kind of problems. Alright? Another linear equation to solve. 0.2 times 3 minus 2x equal to 1.4. Alright, what do you think we will do here? How many terms are there on the left side? How many terms? Well, only one term. 0.2 times 3 minus 2x is a single term. It's the product of two factors. Alright, what we need to do is make the decimal numbers whole numbers. What do? Multiply the left side by 10, the right side also by 10. Multiplying by 10 simply means move the decimal one place to the right. So move the decimal one place to the right. Here will make 0.2 will become 2. 2 times 3 minus 2x equal to, moving decimal one place to the right, here will make it 14. I hope you understand and you know how to do this. Move decimal one place to the right, 0.2 now becomes 2. And move decimal one place to the right, 1.4 becomes 14. Now distribute that 2. Now it is simple. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times negative 2x is minus 4x equal to 14. Alright. 6 minus 4x equal to 14. Move the 6 to the right side. You get negative 4x equal to 14 minus 6. Is that right? 14 minus 6. Or we have negative 4x equal to 14 minus 6 is 8. To get x alone, divide the left side by negative 4, the right side also by negative 4. And on the left, the negative 4 cancels with the negative 4. You get x equal to 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. X equal to negative 2 is the solution of this linear equation. Alright, we have now an interesting question to solve. Look at the denominators. Negative 2/3 x minus 3 over 5 equal to x plus 13 over 15. Tell me, how many terms are there on the left? Negative 2/3 x is one term, minus 3/5 is another term. On the right, x is one term, plus 13 over 15 is another term. There are 2 terms on the left and 2 terms on the right. Now, what is it that I've told you when you have an equation that contains a denominator? You must aim at eliminating the denominator. You must choose a number so that you multiply every term. You see why I told you to identify the terms first. You need to multiply every term of the equation by the same number. What is that number? That number will be the LCD of these three. 3, 15 and 15. What is the LCD of those three numbers? Is 15. So we multiply each term by 15. Now look at the way I'm going to multiply that. I'm going to multiply 15 multiplied by negative 2/3 x. Look at the way I'm writing this. Because this is negative, when I multiply by 15, I put that in parentheses. Otherwise, I will read it as 15 minus. To avoid that, I use a parenthesis. Alright? Minus. This time, I can do the multiplication after the minus. Minus 15 times 3 over 5. So multiply both sides, both terms on the left by 15. On the right, 15 multiplied by x is 15x plus 15 multiplied by 13 over 15. Alright, now simplify here. 3 goes in 15 how many times? 5 times. Alright, what is 5 times negative 2x? That would be negative 10x. Write that term right away so that you will not mess up later. So 3 goes in 15 5 times. That 5 times negative 2x is negative 10x. Minus 5 goes in 15 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. So your left side now is negative 10x minus 9 equal to 15x will remain 15x plus here 15 and 15 will go, leaving us with a 13. Alright, next we move the 15x to the left and negative 9 to the right. That will give me negative 10x. 15x will come to the left, will become minus 15x equal to 13 on the right, and this negative 9 is going to move to the right, will become positive 9. There you are. Alright, what is my left hand side now? Left hand side is negative 25x equal to 13 plus 9 is 22. Divide both sides by negative 25. Divide by negative 25. Divide by negative 25. On the left, negative 25 will go. What's our answer? We get x equal to, numerator is positive, denominator is negative, the answer becomes negative. Negative 22 over 25 is the answer. Okay, that has been a good problem, and I hope you will take some time to practice problems like this. Okay, in the next question I want you to look at this relation. P plus AB equal to BA plus P. I want you to identify the property of real numbers, or property of addition and multiplication that I have used here. Now, some of the properties are commutative property of addition, commutative property of multiplication, associative property of addition, associative property of multiplication. Now, what property have I used in writing this? P plus AB equal to BA plus P. Actually, I have used two properties here. You notice here, AB on the left side become BA. What is the property used there? The property is commutative property of multiplication. AB is the same as BA. And now look at the property I have used here. P plus AB equal to BA plus P. I have changed the order of addition. What is that? Commutative property of addition. So I have used commutative property of multiplication, also commutative property of addition. Alright, watch here. A plus B plus C equal to A plus B plus C. What is the property I have used here? A plus B plus C. I have grouped B and C together, added them, then added the sum to A. And that is the same as adding A to B and then adding to C. What is the property I have used here? It is the associative property of addition. You see, the association will not make a difference. A plus B plus C is the same as A plus B plus C. Alright? So practice all such properties and make sure that you understand these concepts. Let's now solve this equation. X squared minus 6x minus 16 equal to negative 24. Well, if you look at the left hand side, is a second degree quantity. So this is a second degree equation. What is the method of solving a second degree equation? In order to solve a second degree equation, you move all the terms from the right to the left and make the right side 0. So we move the negative 24 from right to the left and make the right side 0. Now it becomes x squared minus 6x minus 16 minus 24 will come to the left, become plus 24, and the right side equal to 0. Okay, what's the next step? Combine like terms. That will be x squared minus 6x minus 16 plus 24 is plus 8 equal to 0. And now, can you factor this for me? We need to factor the left hand side. Is that right? Once we simplify the left hand side, this is a trinomial, we now factor. X squared can be factored as x times x. And if you notice, the last term is positive, the middle term is negative. What are the two factors of 8 that will multiply to give you positive 8 and add to give you negative 6? It means both the factors must be negative. So what are they? Negative 4 and negative 2. Negative 2x added to negative 4x is negative 6x. So what are the factors? The first factor is x minus 4. You get x minus 4 times the second factor is x minus 2. So x minus 4 times x minus 2 equal to 0. And now what's the next step? We use the zero factor property. Set each factor to 0 and solve for x. Well, x minus 4 equal to 0 gives you x equal to, move the negative 4 to the right side, x equal to 4. Now, the second factor, set that equal to 0, x minus 2 equal to 0 gives you x equal to 2. So the two values of x that will satisfy this equation are x equal to 4 and x equal to 2. Very important type of equation, and you must be very familiar with solving. Alright, in the next problem we add 3x squared minus 5x plus 3, 3x squared minus 5x plus 7x plus 3. You got an expression added to another expression. When you add expressions, there is no need for parentheses. So you can simply remove and throw those parentheses away. So this will now become 3x squared minus 5x plus 7x plus 3. Right? Yes, you don't need parentheses when you add, but you must be careful when you subtract. Now, combine the middle terms. That will be 3x squared minus 5x plus 7x is plus 2x plus 3, and that is the simple result. Okay. Let's now try this problem. Solve P equal to 2L plus 2W for L. We need to solve this equation for L. That means we need to look at the term that contains L. We need to solve for L. So isolate the term that contains L and leave that term alone on this side. Move the other term to the other side. So what does it become? 2W will move to the left, will become P minus 2W equal to 2L. Now solving for L means we need that L alone. That means divide the left hand side and the right hand side by 2. Remember, the left hand side is a single quantity. So when you divide it, you must divide the whole thing. So that will be P minus 2W all over 2 equal to 2L divided by 2. Divide the left side and the right side by 2. Now on the right, that will cancel. So that gives you L equal to P minus 2W all over 2. And that is L solved in terms of the other variables. Okay. That again is an important type of skill that you must practice more of it. Our next problem is a division problem. Alright, watch it again. X squared plus 6x plus 8 over x squared minus 9 divided by x squared minus x minus 20 over x squared minus 2x minus 15. The method, of course, is change the division to a multiplication and invert the divisor. It now becomes x squared plus 6x plus 8 over x squared minus 9 multiplied by, invert the divisor. This will go on top, x squared minus 2x minus 15 over x squared minus x minus 20. Well, to simplify this now, you need to factor each of these. Now look at these carefully and identify the type of factoring you need to do. This is a trinomial. This is a difference of two squares. This is a trinomial. This is a trinomial. And all these trinomials are simple because the coefficient of x squared is 1. Alright, help me factor x squared plus 6x plus 8. All terms are positive. The two factors of 8 must multiply to give 8 and add to give positive 6. So what are the factors of this? 4 times 2 is 8. 4 plus 2 is 6. That will be therefore x plus 4 times x plus 2 is the factors there. Alright, what are the factors of x squared minus 9? This is x squared minus 3 squared. That will be x minus 3 times x plus 3 multiplied by, I want you to do this in your mind. Alright, x squared minus 2x minus 15. You need to factor negative 15 so that the product will be negative 15 and the sum will be negative 2. What are those two numbers? It will be negative 5 and positive 3. Negative 5 times positive 3 is negative 15, and negative 5 added to positive 3 is negative 2. So the factors are x minus 5 times x plus 3 are the factors of the top. In the same way, let's now factor the denominator. Both the middle term and the last term are negative. That means you must find a positive number and a negative number. When multiplied gives you negative 20. When added gives you a negative 1. Negative 1 is the coefficient of x. And those numbers are, what are they? Negative 5 and positive 4. So the factors are x minus 5 times x plus 4. Now once you factor, you can now cancel common factors. Now you notice x plus 3 on the denominator cancels with x plus 3. X minus 5 cancels with x minus 5. X plus 4 cancels with x plus 4. What is therefore the answer? The answer is x plus 2 on the numerator and x minus 3 on the denominator. Alright, that is a beautiful problem. I hope you will be able to do problems like this. Okay, we will now simplify this algebraic expression. X squared minus 3x all over x squared minus 8x plus 15. Well, what do? Factor the numerator. How do you factor the numerator? The first thing you look for when you want to factor are common factors. X squared minus 3x, x is common there. When x is pulled out of x squared, you have an x remaining. Minus 3, so x squared minus 3x is x times x minus 3 all over x squared minus 8x plus 15 is a trinomial, and you can tell me how to factor that. The coefficient of x is 1. That makes it very simple. The last term is positive. The middle term is negative. That means both factors of 15 have to be negative. Give me two numbers when multiplied will give you positive 15 and when added to give you negative 8. That will be negative 5 and negative 3. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15, and negative 5 added to negative 3 is negative 8. So the factors are x minus 5 times x minus 3. And now cancel common factors. X minus 3 cancels with x minus 3. What's our answer? Answer is x over x minus 5. Okay? The next question. Simplify square root of 48 times x to the power of 17. Now, when you want to simplify a square root expression, you need to write each quantity as the product of the highest perfect square. Is that right? Okay. what is the highest perfect square in 48? You must practice some of these on your own. You see, the perfect squares are 4 is a perfect square. Next perfect square is 9. Alright, 16 is a perfect square. 25 is a perfect square. 36 is a perfect square. What is the highest perfect square in 48? 48 is 16 times 3. So you will write this as square root of 48 is now 16 times 3. X to the power of 17. Remember, a power becomes a perfect square when the power can be divided by 2. X to the power of 17 is not a perfect square. What is the highest perfect square in x to the power of 17? Well, the next bigger number that can be divided by 2 is 16. So we write x to the power of 17 as x to the power of 16 times x to the power of 1. Isn't it? X to the power of 16 is a perfect square. And that multiplied by x to the power of 1 is x to the power of 17. And now we combine the perfect squares in one radical. So that will be square root of 16x to the power of 16. Alright, we have taken these two perfect squares. The remaining 3x will now stay inside another radical times square root of 3x. Alright, now help me simplify this. Square root of 16 is 4. What is square root of x to the power of 16? To find the square root of a power, simply divide the power by 2. So that will be x to the power of 8. Square root of 16, x to the power of 16 is 4x to the power of 8, and square root 3x will remain as it is. So the simplified form is 4x to the power of 8 square root 3x. Alright, let's see if we can do this problem. In an election, one person gets 8 fewer votes than the other person. If they receive a total of 100 votes, how many did each get? How many did each get? Well, we need to say somebody's vote be equal to x. Whose votes is going to be called x? In an election, one person gets 8 fewer than the other person. This is the same as the previous problem we did. So we start by saying that let the other person's vote be x. You see, the other person received how many votes? The other person received x votes. And therefore, how many did the one person? You see, in an election, one person gets 8 fewer than the other person. We said the other person received x votes. So how many did the one person get? One person gets 8 fewer than what the other person got. What is 8 fewer than x? X minus 8. Alright? And now, so one person got x number of votes. The other person got x minus 8 votes. The total number of votes is 100. That means if you add this x to this x minus 8, you must get 100. So we get x plus x minus 8 equal to 100. Adding that gives me 2x minus 8 equal to 100. Take the negative 8 to the other side. We get 2x equal to 100 plus 8. Alright. 2x equal to 108. Divide both sides by 2. We get x equal to 54. Is that right? So the other person got 54 and this one person got 54 minus 8. That will be 46. So the number of votes each person get. One person got 46. The other person got 54. Okay. The two problems we did are very much similar. You must learn to set up problems like this. Our next question is a long division problem. 2x squared minus 11x plus 15 divided by x plus 2. This is the dividend. This is the divisor. We start by putting the lines like this. Write the dividend here, 2x squared minus 11x plus 15, and write the divisor on the left, x plus 2. Alright, first thing to do is 2x squared divided by x. Now what is 2x squared divided by x? Is 2x. We write it on top. And now multiply this 2x with the x. 2x times x is 2x squared. Write it below 2x squared. Remember, when you do long division, always the quantity that is written below the first term will be the same. 2x squared below 2x squared. Now multiply 2x by 2. What is 2x multiplied by 2? Is positive 4x. Write it below negative 11x. Now you need to subtract. Always when you subtract, the first two terms will go. 2x squared minus 2x squared will be 0. Negative 11x minus 4x. Remember, you are subtracting. Minus 11x minus 4x is minus 15x. And now bring down the plus 15. We will now repeat. Negative 15x divided by x. What is negative 15x divided by x? That will be negative 15. Is that right? Yes. So negative 15x divided by x is negative 15. Now you multiply this negative 15 with each of these. Negative 15 times x is negative 15x. Negative 15 times positive 2 is minus 30. Now subtract again. Subtracting negative 15x from negative 15x will give you 0. So that will be 0 because they are the same. Alright, look at this. You are now going to subtract a negative number. Watch here, I'm going to write it here. 15 minus negative 30. What is that? 15 minus negative 30. 15 minus negative 30 is 15 plus 30. And 15 plus 30 is plus 45. So, what is our answer? Our answer is 2x minus 15. Now, plus 45 is the remainder. That will be 45 divided by x plus 2. That is the answer of the long division. Again, you need to practice this. Take a few more problems and practice this on your own. Okay, look at this question. What percent of 60 is 15? Do you understand that question? what percent of 60 is 15? In other words, what you need to do is express 15 as a percent of 60. You see, when you want to find a number as a percent of the other number, write it as a ratio. 15 as a percent of 60. Once you form a ratio, you simply multiply that by 100. Right? 15 is what percent of 60? Or what percent of 60 is 15? 15 divided by 60 multiplied by 100. Now, 15 goes in 60 how many times? 15 times 4 is 60. 4 times. And 4 goes in 125 times. So the answer is 25%. 15 is 25% of 60. Alright? Okay, look at this question. Simplify. 10 square root 72 times square root of 5. Well, you cannot have a radical in the denominator. So the first thing we are going to do is multiply the denominator by what? By square root of 5. Also the numerator by square root of 5. So we're going to write this as 10 square root 72 times square root of 5 over square root of 5 times square root of 5. Okay. Now, on the numerator, we've got to do a simplification. Can you write 72 as the product of the highest perfect square? 72 is 36 times 2. 36 is a perfect square. So I'm going to write it as, the numerator will be now 10 times square root 72. I'm going to write 36 times 2. Now multiply that by square root 5 over, what is the denominator? Square root 5 times square root 5 is now 5. Alright, what else we can do now here? First of all, let's leave these numbers. We will cancel them later. We can separate this into two radicals. Square root 36 times square root 2. So that will be 10 times square root 36 times square root 2 times square root 5 all over 5. Okay, now we do two things here. We cancel this 5 with the 10, leaving here a 2. Now tell me, this is a 2, square root of 36 is a 6, right? Square root 36 is 6. 2 multiplied by 6 is 12. There you are. And square root 2 times square root 5, you can put them together in one radical. That will be square root of 10. And what is the denominator? Denominator is 1. So the answer is 12 square root 10. Simplify. Cube root of 128 x to the power of 7 y to the power of 5. To simplify a cube root, you need to write the quantities inside the radical as product of perfect cubes. Alright, 128. So let's say that will be cube root of, tell me, 128. Can you write it as a product of the perfect cube times something else? What is the highest perfect cube in 128? I told you to remember all the perfect cube. The first perfect cube is 2 cube, that is 8. 3 cube is 27. 4 cube is 64. You see, once you know that, you know 64 times 2 is 128. So that will be 64 times 2. 64 is the perfect cube. Now, a power becomes a perfect cube when the power can be divided by 3. So what is the biggest perfect cube in x to the power 7? It is x to the power 6. So x to the power 7 is written as x to the power 6 times x. And y to the power 5, what is the biggest perfect square in y to the power 5? It is y cube. Y to the power 5 is y cube times y squared. Alright, now we separate all the perfect cube together in one radical. That will be cube root of 64 is the perfect cube. X to the power 6 is the perfect cube. Y to the power of 3 is the perfect cube. All of them will stay in one radical, and the remaining will stay in the other radical. What are the remaining ones? 2xy squared. There you are. 2xy squared. Well, now find the cube root of each of these. What is cube root of 64? Cube root 64 is 4. Cube root of x to the power 6. To find the cube root of a power, divide the power by 3. Cube root of x to the power 6 is x to the power of 6 divided by 3. That is x squared. Cube root of y cube is y, and the remaining will be cube root 2xy squared, and that is the answer. Very important skill, please. Here we have a ratio problem. If 15 liters of copper weighs 120 grams, how much does 90 liters of copper weigh? Well, the two quantities here are liters and gram. So, what we do is we take, first of all we say, we got to answer this question, how much does 90 liter weigh? Let's say the 90 liter weighs, we start by saying, let 90 liter weighs, well, x gram. X gram. Actually, here, in place of liter, it must be milliliter. It doesn't matter for you. Okay? We only look at numbers. So, let 90 liters of copper weigh x gram. Now, what do we do here? We got two types of quantities. One is the liter, the other is the gram. So we take a ratio of liter to gram. Alright? 15 milliliter of copper weighs 120 grams. What is the ratio there? 15 divided by 120. Alright, this is the ratio of milliliters to gram. Now, in the second case also you take the same ratio. Take the ratio of milliliter to gram. What would that be? That will be 90 divided by x. Is that right? 15 milliliter weighs 120 grams. Take the ratio of milliliter to gram, 15 divided by 120. The second ratio is 90 milliliter weighs x gram. The ratio is 90 divided by x. And these two ratios must be equal. Alright, now we have a proportion. What do? Cross multiply. You see 15 times x, I'm going to write it here. 15 times x equal to 120 times 90. Alright. Now divide both sides by 15. Alright. There you go. On the left, 15 and 15 goes. We get x equal to. Now can you do this without any difficulty? You can see 15 goes in 90. You know how many times? 15 times 6 is 90. So 15 goes in 90 6 times. So the answer is 120 times 6. What is 120 times 6? 720. So x equal to 720 gram. So practice these kind of problems from ratio. You must spend a lot of time reviewing these kind of problems. We will now do a graphing problem. Graph 5x minus 3y equal to 15. Now this is a linear equation. To graph a linear equation, you need only 2 points. What are the 2 convenient points we can take? The x-intercept and the y-intercept. How do we obtain the x-intercept? You need to learn that very well. X-intercept is obtained by setting y equal to 0. You see? X-intercept, learn it very well. X-intercept is obtained by setting y equal to 0 and solving for x. Look at this. 5x minus 3 times 0 equal to 15. That gives me 5x equal to 15, or x equal to 3. Is that right? Divide both sides by 5. So what is the x-intercept? X-intercept is x equal to 3, y equal to 0. I'm going to write it here. X-intercept is 3, 0. Alright? Next you find the y-intercept. Y-intercept. How do you find the y-intercept? Set x equal to 0 and solve for y. So 5 times 0 minus 3y equal to 15. That will be 5 times 0 is 0. That is negative 3y equal to 15. Divide both sides by negative 3. That will give me y equal to negative 5. So the y-intercept is x equal to 0, y equal to negative 5. That will be 0, negative 5. Okay, I'm now going to remove this from the board. We have found the x and y intercept. The x-intercept is 3, 0. The y-intercept is 0, negative 5. Now here I have x equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Y equal to 1, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, and so on. Alright, mark the x-intercept. X-intercept is x equal to 3, y equal to 0, which is this point. This is the x-intercept. And the y-intercept is x equal to 0, y equal to negative 5. That is the y-intercept. And therefore, the graph of that equation will be a straight line that passes through these 2 points. This is the graph of that equation. So you must learn how to find the x and y intercept and draw the graph of an equation. Now in the final, this will be all multiple choice. Right? You'll be given these diagrams. You will be required to pick the right diagram, the right graph. So what you need to do is obtain the x and y intercept and check which graph has those x and y intercept. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Another equation to graph. Alright, read this equation carefully. Y equal to negative 2/3 x plus 2. Do you recognize that this equation is of the slope-intercept form, like y equal to mx plus b? If I write it below here, y equal to mx plus b. Now, m is the slope, and look at the slope here. So, I'm going to write on the right here, m, the slope equal to negative 2/3. I want you to watch the way I write it. The negative sign, I gave it to the numerator. So, negative of 2/3 is negative 2 divided by 3. In other words, your walk is 3, your rise is negative 2. What do you mean a negative 2 is the rise? That means it is a fall. So, your slope is negative 2/3 and b is 2, means the y-intercept. Tell me, what is the y-intercept? This b is the value of y when the x equal to 0. So the y-intercept is 0, 2. Now, you must get this information as soon as you see this equation. Y equal to negative 2/3 x plus 2 gives you m, the slope, equal to negative 2/3 and the y-intercept is 0, 2. So, you can actually use these two information to plot your graph. I have shown that to you. Alright, start by marking the y-intercept. Where is the y-intercept? 0, 2 is the y-intercept. There we are. And now, while staying at this point, what do you need to do? Walk 3 units to the right, positive. So that will be 1, 2, 3. And then what do you do? After walking 3 units to the right, you've got to rise negative 2. Rising negative 2 is the same as falling 2. So we will fall 2 units. 1, 2, we will come here. You see, that is a point on the graph. And what all now you need to do is, that is the graph of the equation y equal to negative 2/3 x plus 2. Alright? You must develop all these skills to do the final. The next question is simplify square root 5 divided by square root 2 minus 3. Well, how do you rationalize the denominator here? We cannot have the radical on the denominator, but because it is square root 2 minus 3, you cannot simply multiply it by square root 2. It will not remove the radical. What you need to do is, you need to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of this quantity. What is the conjugate of square root 2 minus 3? The conjugate of square root 2 minus 3 is square root 2 plus 3. So, multiply the denominator and numerator by square root 2 plus 3, which is the conjugate of this. That will be square root 5 times square root 2 plus 3 over square root 2 minus 3, put that in parentheses, times square root 2 plus 3. And that will be, this will remain as it is, square root 5 times square root 2 plus 3 over, what is this now? You see, this is a difference multiplied by a sum. Look at this. a minus b times a plus b is a squared minus b squared. So this will be square of square root 2 minus the square of 3. Okay, and that will be equal to, I'm going to write it here now, the numerator is square root 5 times square root 2 plus 3, that's the numerator, divided by, what's the denominator? Square root 2 all squared is 2, minus 3 squared is 9, and that will be square root 5 times 2 plus square root 3 all over 2 minus 9 is negative 7. And you can now write it as negative, the denominator is negative means the whole quantity is negative. Negative of square root 5 times 2 plus square root 3 all over 7, and that is the result. Okay. The next question, subtract 15x squared minus 2x plus 3 minus the quantity 2x minus 3. Remember, when you subtract a quantity, that parenthesis is very important. Now, you don't need the first parenthesis. You can simply remove it. But the second parenthesis is important. There is a negative 1 outside that parenthesis. So, we will first write this quantity without the parenthesis. That will be 15x squared minus 2x plus 3. Distribute the negative 1 into the parenthesis. Negative 1 times 2x is minus 2x. And negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. There you are. And now, combine like terms. You can see minus 2x combines with minus 2x gives me minus 4x. So that will be 15x squared minus 4x plus 3 is plus 6. So the answer is 15x squared minus 4x plus 6. The next one, multiply 2 square root 5 times the quantity square root 3 minus square root 7. Well, you have 2 square root 5 outside the parenthesis, means you need to distribute that 2 square root 5 into each of the terms there. So, what do? Multiply 2 square root 5 by square root 3. Then multiply 2 square root 5 by negative square root 7. So, it will become 2 square root 5 multiplied by square root 3. That's the first term. And now you are multiplying positive 2 square root 5 by this negative square root 7. The answer will be negative. So I'm going to put that negative sign here. Minus 2 square root 5 times square root 7. Alright, the next thing to do is square root 5 times square root 3. You can put them together in one radical. That will be square root of 5 times 3. So that will be 2 times square root 5 times 3 minus 2 times square root of 5 times 7. There you are. And that will be 2 square root 15 minus 2 square root 35 is the answer. Okay. Our next problem, solve 3 over 13 equal to x minus 3 divided by 3x minus 1. Well, if you notice, the left side is a simple ratio, the right side also is a simple ratio. But remember to put these in parentheses. Each of these is a quantity. Now, because the left side is a simple ratio and the right side also is a simple ratio, you can now cross multiply. So look at this, let's cross multiply. 3 times 3x minus 1, let's write that. 3 times 3x minus 1 equal to 13 times x minus 3. 13 times x minus 3. Alright? Now we distribute. On the left, distribute the 3. 3 times 3x is 9x. 3 times negative 1 is minus 3. Equal to 13 times x is 13x. 13 times negative 3 is minus 39. Alright, now we move the 13x to the left and the negative 3 to the right. That gives me 9x minus 13x equal to negative 39 on the right. This negative 3 will move to the right, become positive 3. What does that become? 9x minus 13x is 4x. 4x equal to negative 39 plus 3 is, well, did I get it right? Did you question me? 9x minus 13x is negative 4x. That's right, not 4x. Negative 4x equal to negative 39 plus 3 is negative 36. To get x alone, divide the left by negative 4, the right by negative 4. The negative 4 and the negative 4 cancels. We get x equal to, what is negative 36 divided by negative 4? 4 goes in 36 9 times. Therefore, negative 36 divided by negative 4 is 9. X equal to 9 is the answer. Alright? Okay, another one. Find the x and y intercepts of 7x minus 3y, not 3x. 7x minus 3y equal to 21. Alright, how do we find the x-intercept? X-intercept is obtained by setting y equal to 0. So, that will be 7x minus 3 times 0 equal to 21. 3 times 0 is 0. That gives me 7x equal to 21. If 7x equal to 21, what is x? Divide both sides by 7. We get x equal to 3. X equal to 3, y equal to 0. The x-intercept is 3, 0. Alright, let's now find the y-intercept. How do you find the y-intercept? To find the y-intercept, set x equal to 0 and solve for y. So, when x becomes 0, 7 times 0 minus 3y equal to 21. 7 times 0 is 0, so that would be negative 3y equal to 21. To solve, divide both sides by negative 3. Divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3. Negative 3 and negative 3 goes. We get y equal to positive divided by negative is negative. So what is 21 divided by 3? Is 7. This will be negative 7. Y equal to negative 7 when x equal to 0. Therefore, the y-intercept is 0, -7. A very important skill, finding the x and y-intercept. Now, you can actually graph the equation by marking the points on the graph. Is that right? Okay. Let's now simplify this. Square root 54 plus square root 96 minus square root 24. Well, to simplify each of these radical expressions, square root, we need to write each of these as the product of the highest perfect power, perfect square. Alright, tell me, what is the highest perfect square in 54? You should know your tables to know that. 54. Does it come? 9 times 6. 9 is the perfect square there. So, we will write square root 54 as square root of 9 times 6. You see, in questions like this, you have identified in the first case 9 is the perfect square, 6 is not the perfect square, that is going to stay inside the radical. Now you should expect that in the next two terms also, this 6 will stay inside the radical. Therefore, it is a clue now. Can you tell me how will you be writing square root of 96? Can you write 96 as the product of a perfect square times a number? Well, once you get the clue here, you can see 96 is 16 times 6. Do you know that? Yes. 16 times 6 is 96. So we write 96 is 16 times 6. Alright, tell me, how will you write 24 as the product of perfect square? The clue again, 24 is 4 times 6. So that will be 4 times 6. Okay, what is the next step? Split each of these into two different radicals, each containing the perfect square and the other. So this will be square root 9 times square root 6 plus square root 16 times square root 6 minus square root 4 times square root 6. Now, square root 9 is 3, so this will be 3 square root 6 plus square root 16 is 4. That will be 4 square root 6 minus square root 4 is 2. That will be 2 square root 6. Now, look at this. All of them are terms containing square root 6. 3 square root 6 can be added to 4 square root 6. That will give me 7 square root 6 minus 2 square root 6 will be 5 square root 6, and that is the answer. You need to go back and do some more of these. Alright, we have plenty of examples in the homework and also in the practice tests. Another simplification. Simplify 16 minus -1 plus 3 squared all over 2 times 3 minus 5 plus 5. Well, identify what you're going to do there first. First of all, you can simplify 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. And here you can apply the double negative. That will be minus multiplied by minus will be positive. And inside the parenthesis, you can evaluate 3 minus 5 is -2. So those are the 3 things we are going to do. We will do this, we will do this, and then we will do that. That will be 16 minus -1 is +1. Plus 9 squared plus 3 squared is 9 over 2 times 3 minus 5 is -2 plus 5. Okay, what is the numerator equal to? 16 plus 1 plus 9 is 26, is that right? So 26 divided by 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 plus 5, and that will be 26 divided by negative 4 plus 5 is a positive 1, and that is equal to 26. Now remember, we have done now a number of representative questions. Now it doesn't mean these are the only type of questions you can expect for the final or the exit. You must now go back and do a varieties of problems from all the homeworks. You must spend a lot of time. You see, this course you need to really work hard and keep writing. Do not read or listen to for learning. You must keep doing. You only learn by doing. So please go ahead and do as many of problems as possible, and make sure that you are thorough with the complete course material. Alright? If you have any questions about any of these or any other questions, now get back to me and I will answer you. Alright? So I wish you all the best one more time for the final and the exit exam.